Hello, puppies and kittens. Welcome to another episode of Reading Joseph Smith. And we have, I'm going to be the bass, I guess, this time around. And we got Bryce Blankenagel. He's our lead vocalist. And on rhythm guitar is Gazelam Ali.
Hello, hi, Aaron.
All right, how you guys doing?
Doing
Introduce
good.
yourself, Gazelam.
Yeah, I'm Gazelam Ali. I'm from the Order of Amen. We're the true and living Mormons. We're Gnostic Mormons. We pretty much we're full-on apologists. So anything as weird as it can be, like inhabitants of the moon, on the moon and the sun, multiple mortal probation, Adam God. We just we like the real stuff, you know. I have a similar certain background with the cultic background with Aaron in the sense that I'm a Discordian Pope and was ordained by Robert Anton Wilson, as well as was introduced into the Bob Dobbs and the Church of the Subgenius 3 decades ago. So that kind of give you a little insight on my Mormon group and stuff.
Have you ever met Ivan Stang?
No, I never have. I did want to go to their big apocalyptic event in what was it, '96 or something, but I missed their apocalypse.
I'm proud to say that he's a friend of mine here in Texas now, and I've been to his house, had barbecue a couple of times.
Oh, how cool. Yeah, I remember when they tarred and feathered him at his apocalypse.
Well, good to meet you. And you kind of you remind me of people I know or knew back in the day.
Oh, way cool. Yeah, we have a similar background and a similar haircut. So,
Yeah, there you go. All right, and Bryce, who are you?
I do Mormon stuff, any sort of stuff's online. If you just fucking, I'm the only one with this name. Google me and find out. Glassbox podcast, Naked Mormonism podcast. Those are my fortes.
All right, and welcome back, Ivory Darkness. I just noticed you put an H
Hello.
after the D in darkness. That's fun. Yeah. And Jimmy. Hello, Jimmy. How you do, sir?
Yeah, it's a wonderful logo.
All right. Now let me see. Let me check our stats. Whoop. Okay. What do you say, Jimmy? You got your mic working yet?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
We can indeed. We can indeed.
Good.
I can hear you.
Sorry, that was now I got to fix lights and all sorts of shit. But yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so now let's get started. Today we're going to be doing the book of Jarom, and this is chapter 1. And what I think is amusing about that is that when I hit the next page, it's the book of Omni, chapter 1.
And guess how many chapters are in this book? Guess how many chapters are in the next one? We feel efficient today.
What was the point of that? Why do this? These books are terrible. They don't have particularly great content. What was the point of making a bunch of short little books?
I think Joseph really felt that it would make it a stronger case for his book for some reason. If you have a whole bunch of people passing the plates around and
okay. Now, follow-up question that I think is even more relevant. Who are you?
oh, you missed me. I'm Gazelam Ali, but
Okay,
I'm a
hi.
fan, Jimmy. I watch your stuff, so I
Well.
know what you're up to.
Nobody's perfect, bud.
He's just some guy I went to high school with.
Awesome. Just some guy. Well, cool.
All right. Got a couple chats to read already. First of all, let me see. The Raven 200 says offers $4.99. It says I've been rewatching One Piece. Even after all this time, I can't watch the Straw Hat pirate ship's funeral without tearing up. Rest in peace, Mary. Spelled Merry.
That's certainly a series of words.
Yeah. I feel like there's some crucial context missing. Was this a reply to the previous show you were doing, or I'm missing pieces?
I mean,
it's been a while since I've worn anything piratey, so I don't think they're talking about me.
One Piece is an anime, and when I hear the Straw Hat pirate ship, I imagine I actually think I even know who the character is, but I've never seen the show. But I truly cannot figure out the yeah. But anyway, what up, Raven? Thank you for the money. You're a frequent contributor, and I'm sorry about your pirate ship funeral.
And am I going to be? I'm on the line tomorrow, right? Tomorrow, Monday,
right.
with you,
With Mr.
Excellent,
Deity.
excellent. With Mr. Deity. Looking forward to that. He's
Arden will
a
be
chuckle.
producing, just so you know, not me.
Really? Okay.
Mhm.
So
I got it.
are you not going to be available tomorrow?
Correct.
Okay.
But I'll send you an outline if that helps.
Heading off to the subcontinent for another one of these secret adventures.
I think if I don't take a break, I might kill myself.
Now, just
Not-
curious,
Not to break everything
subcontinent,
down, but I need a
subcontinent, is
break.
that Texas speak? Is that just referring to southern Texas or something?
Yeah.
I was just making an allusion to to like secret adventures, or something a little bit more
Okay.
more interesting than just taking a break for the evening.
I think I might go see a rabbit, grass. I might touch some. I might smell the air. It's some self-care, get back to nature shit. Just because I just need a break. I just need a break real bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
And well, you may have one, sir.
I know.
Then
I know how you
Then I
feel.
have to do a show on Tuesday, so I can't go out of town until Wednesday, when I then have like 4 days off in a row. It's the best.
Do you have any plans of where you're going?
Nope. But probably toward the ocean, which I might just walk into. just, just walk into the ocean and fade away.
You are worrying me somewhat.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
I just need a break. I'll be fine.
All right. So, Gazelam, how good are you
Yes.
reading?
Oh, I can start. Yeah. I mean, I used to do this in church every Sunday. Get up with my family at 5 a.m. in the morning every day to do this. My whole life growing up at home. So, okay.
Oh, that hurt.
Are we reading the little intro things, or just starting
No.
there with the chapter? Okay.
Jumping in.
Now behold, I, Jarom, write a few words according to the commandment of my father Anus, and our genealogy may be kept. And as these plates are small, and these things are written for the intent of the benefit of our brethren, the Lamanites, wherefore it must need be that I write a little. But I shall not write the things of my prophesying, nor of my revelations.
So I'm not gonna write anything interesting. Y'all just gotta sit through all the boring shit.
So we can
Thanks,
save
Jarom.
it for prosperity, For what, if it's not the books of Isaiah for prosperity, it might as well be this junk.
There you go.
For what could I write more than my fathers have written? See? And have not, for they revealed the plan of salvation. I say unto you, yea, and this suffereth me.
So, okay, that's a funny thing to say, because when Mormons talk about the plan of salvation, it's this huge orchestrated, convoluted, they need fucking maps and graphs and shit to talk about it. And it's because it comes from one of Joe's tripping dreams when he and his bro Sidney Rigdon were writing the Doctrine and Covenants. The plan of salvation, as Mormons know it, is nowhere in this book. It's nowhere in the previous pages we fucking read. It's nowhere in here. So he's like, yeah, should I write about the plan of salvation? Nah, my dad took care of that. Like,
Yeah, wait for my Apocrypha when the Pearl of Great Price comes out,
yes, exactly.
Ali,
So
which version are you reading from?
This one is off the church website.
Okay. The reason why I asked, I'm not just going to jump in every time someone says a word wrong. I thought you might have a version where the word is different. You said, yea,
anus.
and this sufficeth me.
It
Is the
was
right word?
sufficeth, yeah.
You said suffereth, and I was like, oh, suffereth would be so much
suffereth.
better. Would be so
Yeah.
much funnier. But that's
Well, I am a prophet, and I have my seer stone here, so maybe that's
Okay.
what they meant. and it just
Awesome.
didn't get.
Hey, man. So,
New
like,
translation.
what's in the sealed portion, right? Like, I know that we're not allowed to see, but surely all the prophets know what's in there, right?
Yeah, you have to ask Chris Lamanka or whatever his
Right.
name is.
Don't even bring that name up.
God's secret
Do not
list.
even invoke that
Sorry.
spirit in this location.
Sorry.
Absolutely not.
Behold, it is expendent that much should be done among this people because of the hardness of their hearts, and the deafness of their ears, and the blindness of their minds, and the stiffness of their necks. Nevertheless, God is exceedingly merciful unto them, and has not as yet swept them off from the face of the land. It's a little
Somebody
foreshadowing.
help me with the colloquialisms of the time. What the hell does stiffness of neck mean?
What do
It's,
you think?
Sleep on the wrong side of the bed, you know?
I guess
I prefer stiff
my
neckedness,
guess,
which
taking the
does come
question
in.
seriously, is that it's
Yep,
Stiff
I
naked.
got your joke,
My guess
Jimmy. Stiff.
that it's just referring to stubbornness.
Yeah. Ivory, you sound like somebody is cutting, like chopping with a knife your microphone when you talk. Like food. Like cha 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 cha. Quiet and choppy.
Yep, a lot
so,
like that. Yeah.
The way that stiff necked is told in like primary, when you read this when you're like 4, 5,
You mean
6 years
stiff-
old or whatever.
Stiff necked or stiff necked?
Stiff necked.
Stiff neckedness.
Stiff neckedness.
We go
It's
get
that-
stiff necked.
Your neck is so stiff that you refuse to bow your head to God.
Oh.
And that's the terminology.
Okay, gotcha.
Like a giraffe, which were in America also
That
during
simply
Book of
means
Mormon
stubbornness.
times.
Yeah.
That one's a joke. They
Yep.
don't really say giraffes were there.
I got a
Every
quick
nil
pile
shall
up of
bow.
comments. So I got a quick pile up of comments. So I got to read them. CJ Young, $5. Thank you. Says, love you guys. Hope the pinstripe is doing well. And Matt White says, I watched the Mormon Murders TV series on Jimmy's recommendation. My eyes were opened.
I have many thoughts about Mormon murders.
All right. We'll find a time to talk about that.
We're talking
Amargan
about Netflix,
offered.
the Netflix series?
Yeah, I think Murder Among the Mormons is what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good series. Are you saying you hated it?
I like Napoleon Dynamite.
Bryce, I don't
Yeah.
have like I don't know,
So
you're not gonna
look,
hurt my
I
feelings.
like Napoleon Dynamite, but that guy should never have been fucking involved. Okay, he's a great Mormon. That's fine. He needs to
Oh.
stay in his own goddamn lane when there's a documentary being made about the vindictiveness of the fucking Mormon Church.
You're talking about so John Heater was involved in it, is what you're saying?
That's correct.
Oh, okay, I got you. I don't get me wrong. I definitely was like, it feels like they're not really representing a certain side of all of this. But I overall,
Did it feel that way, Jimmy? Did it feel like they maybe glossed over some fucking details?
well, I did. I still liked it.
Okay, so
moving on,
Matt White
please.
says,
Somebody
wait,
just
we
chimed
read
in
that
in
one.
the chat.
Then Amargan offers $20, thank you, and says, let's not start comparing the size of each other's plates now. The Raven 200 offers $4.99 and says, also, my D&D group and I have been saying, and it came to pass before we describe the wacky BS we get to in the game. Brilliant.
Beautiful.
Very cool.
I love that. I'm gonna.
You know what I really
And
liked
then-
about the Netflix? Sorry, I'm gonna jump back in. You know what I really liked about it is it also gave a lot of people an appetite for similar shows, and it was the unforeseen consequence of that show is John Heater made a show where a bunch of people went, well, that was interesting. Let's go watch Under the Banner of Heaven. That's what I really like about that show.
That's fair. Under the Banner of Heaven was done well.
Fucking so good.
Except
Andrew
they don't
Garfield.
even get the name of the town right.
Yeah, because you fucking grew. No, sorry.
Yeah.
You know the area.
Andrew
that
Garfield
was
can
a
have
little
whatever
frustrating.
he wants from my house, including me. Just come get it. That's all I'm saying. He did a good job.
So Mojo says, is there any book in the world that has a foundation like the Old Testament? Many religions are based on it. It has a great and deep world building. For me, it is hard to dismiss it. I don't dismiss it as literature, not even as anthropologically significant literature. I just have to dismiss it for being, it's like when you read any other mythology, you can't take it as true.
I think there's an ice cream truck on my road. It'd be crazy for me to
here.
run away right now, right?
Go for it. Go get an ice cream.
Where's my
This is Go For
wallet?
It Productions.
Come back with a creamsicle.
I'll be back.
Okay, then Kent McLeod Jr. says, how did that discussion go with the Mormon whom you were trying to debate outside of AAC? I hope that question, no, this is for me. It says, Aaron, how did that discussion go with the Mormon whom you were trying to debate outside the AAC?
Yeah, I can't pull it up on screen because they deleted the comment. I think that's referring to the video you posted.
I was trying to debate a Mormon?
I think they were J-Dubs, actually.
And there were J-Dubs, I think.
JW. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we were not able to do the sit down because, frankly, my wife didn't want to record it. She wanted to go have lunch. Yeah, and I can't really blame her for that. And then CJ Young offers $2 and says, my plates are bigger.
Pixar, it didn't happen.
We've got the biggest plates of them all. Okay.
One plate to rule them all.
All right, what line were you on, Gazelam?
By the way, Tomer chimed in the chat.
What's that?
I'm on.
Tomer chimed in saying the stiff naked people is a reference to Exodus 32:9. The Lord further said to Moses, I see that this is a people.
Ivory?
Tomer chimed in the chat for that.
Ivory, do you have like a PayPal account?
I have Cash App and
Can you use either of these things to buy a microphone online?
I don't know if it's the mic or his connection because it's his
I think it's
videos.
connection.
His videos also breaking up too.
Yeah.
Is
I
it?
might need to just jump off and jump back on or something.
You might want to refresh.
I apologize, Ivory, but most of the time I can see your lips moving, but I can't hear anything. And then, and that's what I'm getting.
It's pretty bad.
Mr. Robot.
The ice cream truck went the other direction, but luckily I have my little cups from my freezer. So I'm still gonna have my Sunday ice cream, which was a tradition in our home. If you were good at church, you got ice cream on Sunday, only on Sundays. Yeah.
Okay.
I was rarely good at church.
I was on verse 4,
Tight.
All right. Let's continue.
and we're gonna have some more stiff-neckedness.
Stiff-neckedness and naked stiffness.
I got a stiff necked right now.
There are many among us who have many revelations,
Sus.
for they are not all stiff-necked, and as many as are not stiff-necked and have faith, have communion with the Holy Spirit, and maketh manifest unto the children of men according to their faith. And now, behold, 200 years had passed away, and I didn't write anything else.
That's what this is.
And the people of Nephi had waxed strong in the land and observed to keep the law of Moses. I have a real problem with the law of Moses. And the thing is you have to remind yourself that when they're talking about the law of Moses and Jesus Christ is Yahweh or the highway. Jesus Christ is Jehovah. Jesus Christ is Quetzalcoatl. This guy is not a good guy. This guy is Richard Dawkins type God, you know?
But like 200 years passed. Wouldn't the implication be here that one, there was zero pride for 200 years based on modern like apologetics about Mormonism and what caused every tragedy in the Book of Mormon. And also the Lamanites just stopped, they just went off with their cursed skin and we're like, we're fine. We'll just go chill over there for 200 years. We're not gonna ruffle any feathers.
Yeah, nothing to put down in the book or anything, you know?
Fucking 200
Nothing of good
years
report or
nothing-
praiseworthy.
Right. 200 years after fleeing the destruction of Jerusalem, building boats, seeing angels, talking to God, doing all kinds of building up a civilization with only like going from 2 families to a city without actually jumping forward generations, like still somehow the same generations that made it there. And then 200 years of just nothing, not so much as a newspaper. My God.
And look, it's fascinating to me because the Mormon Church has a corpus of scriptures that they call like the Doctrine and Covenants, is the revelations that Joseph Smith gave. These are written down, handwritten revelations, whatever, that became doctrine of the church. And here we have, written by Jarom's own hand. Sorry, yeah, no, not Enos. Jarom's own hand. We had a bunch of revelations. I'm not gonna write them down here.
Yeah,
I was like,
all these
that's what
prophecies
this
and
book
revelations.
is for. Scripture is for revelations. And he's like, we had revelations. I'm just gonna say that 200 years passed and all was good. The Nephites got super strong.
Okay.
It's fucking absurd. Oh.
I got
And we
another
still-
comment here from Mark Smith, who offers $5 and says, "R and Raw, I find it hard to believe that you went to high school with Gazelam because they didn't have high schools back in the Mesozoic era."
Oh,
Well, I know that's a
Lots of
quip about
shade.
my age, but in fact, I went to high school in the 70s and our schools were high all the time.
Hey, be fair. It was also a quip about Ali's age.
Then Mormon
Well,
Skeptic says, the Book of Mormon references the law of Moses, but Nephites never mentioned feasts or festivals, sacrifices, or anything else having to do with the Orthodox observance. Almost like Joe didn't know.
Yep.
Weird.
100%.
Very like that, I think.
Yeah.
Gazelam,
have
continue,
shelf-
please.
well, do they have shellfish in the Americas?
That's maybe the most absurd question in this book.
But at least we know At least we know that they have the Sabbath on Saturday, so that they can have the holy day unto the Lord. And they profaned not, neither did they blaspheme. Blasphemy is a crime that's victimless. And the laws of the land were exceedingly strict, and they were scattered upon much of the face of the land, and the Lamanites also, and they were exceedingly more numerous than were they of the Nephites, and they loved murder, and they would drink the blood of beasts. And it came to pass that they
Drink. Gotta drink.
They loved murder.
I've been waiting. They loved murder and to drink blood of beasts.
Yeah.
So Republicans.
And they were exceedingly more numerous than were they of the Nephites.
Better
so crazy.
sperms.
And it reminds me of a movie, a 70s movie, a softcore porn that was called Flesh Gordon, in which there was this giant monster that says, "Gee, I love murder."
I've seen
Gotta
Flesh
be old
Gordon.
again. Yeah.
I had to
Flesh with
rent
an
it
E.
on VHS. I rented it on VHS.
Yeah, but I'm talking about Flesh with an E.
Yeah, I rented it. I
Oh,
watched
okay.
it,
Gotcha.
Tower Records. Yeah, I've seen it before.
I saw that in the
Yeah,
When they get attacked
theater.
by the Screwbot.
I saw that in the
They
theater
get
when I
attacked
was
by the
12
Screwbots and
because no one knew that it was kind of a porn flick at the time.
Oh no.
Yep.
That was a fun day.
And then they show the dread Penosaurus.
The,
Anyway, back to the book.
Oh man, sorry.
the penis-shaped spaceship.
Let's see. I hope I didn't lose my place. I'm starting back at 6. And they were scattered upon much of the face of the land, and the Lamanites also, and they were exceedingly more numerous. Oh, no. Okay, 7. And it came to pass that they came many times against me.
Yeah, they did.
Bring on the Screwbots.
That's the worst way to the Nephites to battle, but our kings and our leaders were mighty men in the faith of the Lord, and they taught the people the ways of the Lord. Wherefore we withstood the Lamanites and swept them away out of our lands and began to fortify our cities and whatsoever place of our inheritance.
I don't think that word means what you think it means. A whatsoever place.
Whatsoever.
Whatsoever. Got me
Throw
with
it
a
in there.
spoon. And we multiplied we multiplied exceedingly and spread upon the face of the land, and it became exceedingly rich in gold and silver and precious. And then
Things.
precious things. And then in the fine workmanship of wood, is that right?
Yeah.
I'd
In
like
building.
to evaluate the workmanship myself, but there's whatever.
And in machinery.
Machinery. I'm sorry. What?
Wait,
Is that
keep
a
going.
biblical term?
Keep going. It gets better.
And also in iron and copper and brass and steel.
Yeah.
Where were they and when?
This is on the American continent around 375 BC.
North or South America?
Probably central-ish to south,
Okay.
according to current day bullshit, but realistically, New York State.
There's also the Heartland model.
I'm not kidding.
The crazy fucking racists believe that the Heartland model, that it did come from there, and this is all talking about fucking Indiana and Illinois.
Yeah.
The Great Lakes and stuff.
You'll notice if you start drawing maps of what of what Joseph is writing about, they're all they resemble places he'd been. You've got like rivers and stuff that are clearly from New York. You've got it's fucking. But anyway, they want you to believe that it's probably more Central America, where all of those temples of Solomon are those pyramids. Where all of those are. Those are ancient, Jewish temples of some sort.
Making all manners of tools of every kind to till the ground, and weapons of war, the death laser, the atomic bomb.
That would have been something for Joseph Smith to predict the atomic bomb, though.
I'd be like, all right, well, he's a prophet. Okay, cool. Like, I would be like, okay, the book is bullshit, but he predicted atomic bombs 100 years before Einstein was born. Fuck yeah.
Pretty big deal.
That's the thing.
Well, Bryce, didn't he have wasn't he going to have a flame-throwing submarine and stuff too?
Yeah. Well, that was talk of the time. Yeah, absolutely. Submarines would crush the British Empire. Submarines was the whole age at the time. That was the groundbreaking technology.
Yea, the sharp-pointed arrow, and the quiver, and the dart. So at least we're having some Lamanite weapons here.
But they invented, or they're just saying they made it? Because Nephi has a bow and arrow.
Yeah, so they've already had them.
But now they've got sharp pointed arrows. Before he was just throwing any random stick on it. Like what was like, hey, that's an
sharp,
arrow. That's
sharpened sticks before. And the dart and the javelin. So we got the Greeks involved here.
Yep.
And all preparations for war. So
I don't want to know what their machinery is.
It's so stupid we don't even have to talk about it, right? Or do we? Should we talk about it? It's just so insane.
They're making things of iron, copper, brass, and steel. I've got to think that these are pretty advanced level like lathes. Something from the old Sears catalog. Nice lathe. Nice
Sears catalog.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's good.
I see what you did there.
That's really
culture that doesn't even have the will,
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
The most basic tool or machinery you could come up with, but
oh man.
I want to keep going and read. I want to jump in and read. And thus, being prepared to meet the Lamanites, they did not prosper against us, but the word of the Lord was verified, which he spake unto our fathers, saying, Inasmuch as ye will keep my commandments, ye shall prosper in the land. And it came to pass, yay, that the
Woohoo.
prophets of the Lord did threaten the people of Nephi, according to the word of God, that they did not keep their commandments, but should fall into transgression. They should be destroyed from off the face of the land. Wherefore, the prophets and the priests and the teachers did labor diligently, exhorting with all long suffering to the people to diligence, teaching the law of Moses, and the intent for which was given, persuading them to look forward unto the Messiah, and to believe him to come as though he already was. And after this manner did they teach them. And it came to pass that by so doing they kept them from being destroyed upon the face of the land, for they did prick their hearts with the word, continually stirring them up into repentance. Prick their hearts with the word?
We used to call them the bishop pricks.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. And it came to pass that 238 years had passed away after the manner of wars and contentions and dissensions for the space of much of the time. And I, Jarom, did not write more, for the plates are small.
The plates are
I tried
small,
scribbling
I
along the
know.
edge, but behold, my brethren, ye can go to the other plates of Nephi, for behold, upon them the records of our wars are engraven according to the writings of the kings, or those which they caused to be written. And I deliver these plates into the hands of my son Omni, that they may be kept according to the commandments of my fathers.
Okay, quick
Wow.
question on verse 14. So it talks about the wars are engraved on the plates of Nephi. Is that referencing retrospective, or is that talking about the future books of Nephi that we have in here? Because if I'm recalling correctly, 3rd and 4th Nephi are not part of the war chapters of this book, right? Or am I just
I
trying to put logic onto a book where logic doesn't belong? I'm trying to figure this out.
I mean, it could be the last 116 pages or something. He could have
Yeah.
written all that before those pages got lost, and then been reminiscing and forgot that he didn't reintroduce the wars.
Right. Well, that's what these books are, right? So this is the transitory period, because like Martin Harris and Joseph Smith wrote the 116 pages, and then Martin Harris lost them, whatever. And then Joseph and Oliver Cowdery picked up in Mosiah 1 and wrote all the way to the end of the book. And then at the end of the writing process, the authorship process, translation, they went back and they had to recreate the first books, 116 pages. So these minor prophets that we're getting here, that's Jarom, Enos, Omni, that we're reading through right now, these are to help transition from where they ended of the recreation of the lost pages into what they had already completed, which was the rest of the book. So that's why they're fucking ham-fisted and make no sense here. And it's like, yeah, we had revelations, yeah, we had wars, but I'm not going to talk about it here. I'm just going to hand it to my son. But like, I'm just curious what wars it's referring to here. Is it talking about the original Nephite Lamanite division wars from like 2nd Nephi, or are we talking about wars that were in the 116 pages? I don't like, or are we talking about wars later on when we actually get to the war chapters of the book, that this is just writing foreshadowing that we're going to be getting to soon? I need to stop thinking so much.
No, I can
My
help you.
apologies.
It's very much referring to the war on Christmas. It's referring to the woke war, the war against the wokes, or against the non-woke. Actually, that is. Yeah, it's all culture wars. It's basically
it's a war. It's a war against those who are asleep.
Right. So remember the books that's coming. We have Jacob, Enos, Jarom, Tucker Carlson, Omni, Words of Mormon. It goes in that order.
Okay.
It's proof it's a prophetic book, really, because because when you look at it, this is like what, hundreds and hundreds of years before Pulp Fiction and Memento and all those books.
You should see the ancient, the Reformed Egyptian symbol for that gap in Tucker Carlson's mouth.
Oh, Carlos.
If I may, and I hope I'm sounding better now.
You sound like shit,
I
my friend.
honestly think that this is
Yeah, we can make out what you're saying, but just barely.
Okay, let me adjust my volume again.
It's a breaking in and out. I highly recommend go to YouTube and listen and see if listening helps you identify the problem.
Yeah. Sorry, Ivory.
I'm not super techy. I have some difficulties. I have my volume, so you'll probably be able to hear me better.
It's really bad, but I'm catching it. I couldn't put your last sentence together. I'm not meaning to sound like my ex and I in therapy. I just wish you'd go listen to your own words.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, the Raven 200 offers $19.99. It says, "And it came to pass that I, Jarom, did spake unto thee, dance to the beat, wave your hands together, come feel the heat, forever and ever. Listen and learn. It is time for prancing. Now we are here with Caramel Dancin'."
Yeah.
That's got to be a reference to a song I've never heard.
I was going to order a caramel dancing from the ice cream place, but they drove the other direction.
Then Zar Narankar says, "It feels like this guy in the Book of Mormon has just had nothing new to add. So it's like, hey, just read the other books." It does seem like that, doesn't it? Like total filler material. And it was a great opportunity that Joseph Smith missed when he could have referred to this volume of books that would answer these important questions. But he can just mention that they were buried at this general location and eventually will be found, at which time whoever discovers them will have the answer to that would have been great.
I think I have an idea. I think I know what happened. Pretend I'm Joseph Smith. Okay, guys, listen. I'm worried that the first couple books are a little too good. You know what I mean? They're written a little too well and they're making a little too much sense. You wouldn't have 3 books in a row where the people are that articulate. So let's throw in some boring bad books. That way it'll throw people off the scent from our genius on the first 3 books. I think that's what happened.
I concur.
I thought someone would laugh. I was formulating that whole thing in my head, and I thought it was obvious that those first books were fucking awful. But all right, cool. So, good night, everyone. That's enough for me.
And that's my time.
I need a break. I need a break for you all as much as I need it for me.
Elliot Wilson offers $6.66 and says, "Bryce, is there any controversial Mormon canon currently taught? Appreciate the work y'all do, and see you peeps in hell."
I mean, we've read the talking about the cursing of dark skin. We've read the anti-Semitism in this book, and that's like that's how far we are in this book, right? There's still all of this left. There's still so much more rancid shit to get into this book. But if you're looking for controversial stuff, look into the Pearl of Great Price, because that's where the priesthood ban for dark skin is most explicit. That's where it's like fucking insane. I guess controversial is a matter of your judgment of what is or is not controversial, because they also teach that transgender people aren't actually people. So I mean, that's controversial. That's fucked up, but that's nowhere in this book, right? But they teach it nonetheless. So there's not a Mormon or piece of Mormon theology that isn't controversial to somebody.
And then Mojo says, "Muhammad Hijab asked, what is the full name of Muhammad? Is it Muhammad Smith?"
I dig it.
Yeah, and that was the wrong study for this. You should have been here for the Quran lessons. And Mojo says, "Would you debate Muhammad Hijab on modern day debate about Quran and science?" I could. I invited Muhammad Hijab when we met in Speaker's Corner. I invited him to be on my Quran lessons, and he agreed on video that he would do that, but then didn't.
There's some new debate shows launching on a good channel if you wanted that as an alternative.
You got something to promote there, Jimmy? Hey, we can hear you.
Is it important to me to promote? Everyone, I think, already knows debate shows are coming to the line. What was important to me in that was for me to once again acknowledge that I think that specific name channel is dog shit. But that's, we don't need to cause drama today. If I want to go cause drama somewhere, I'll go to a channel that will platform anyone, like the aforementioned dog shit.
Well, I did see that they put on Jaronism a few more times when that first incident should have been enough.
That's far from their worst.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing, because it's hard for me to imagine worse than that.
Well, there's always Sean Spencer. Richard Spencer.
Too Young to Feel This Old offers $5 and says, first time catching a Joseph Smith stream live. Love what y'all do. Go fuck yourself, Jimmy.
Thank you. Love you.
And then Mojo says again, Joseph Smith chapters were replaced as well, right? I don't get that question.
I don't
quite know.
I need a clarification. I don't. Yeah, clarification, please.
Okay. While we wait for that,
you can put it in the YouTube chat. I mean, if you want to throw in a super chat for the clarification, that's awesome. But I'll try and find it in the regular chat as well.
Well, while we wait for that, we can move on to the next chapter. Oh, excuse me, the next book.
Omni.
The Book of Omni.
Oh, before we move on, I actually wanted to say what I was trying to say earlier.
Yeah, now that we can hear you, go ahead.
Yeah, from the looks of the way of the writing and how I've heard Bryce explain it, ain't it before in the past with these books being written after the loss of the one, after the rest of the book has been written, it seems a whole lot more like Joseph was trying to teaser like a sequel kind of book, like the genealogy of the, like he would go out and have a surprise revelation that he found the secular history of the Nephites and whatnot.
One of many options that he could have written into that, that there's another book buried somewhere.
Yeah. Basically just repeat the same scam and make it just basically writing of the people of Nephi and stuff to try and prove that the Book of Mormon is all completely true. I just think that maybe he didn't get a chance to do this.
So we have an entire book. Is Omni an entire book? Yes. Omni is an entire book. One chapter, 30 verses. This is almost like the Quran now.
I gotta say, so when Mormons are doing their scripture study, they always feel so badass for crushing through an entire book in one session, and we're about to crush through 2 of them, so we should feel super bad.
All right, who wants to read this one?
I'll do it.
All right.
How long is it? Okay.
30 verses.
We're on Omnicron.
Yep.
Behold, it came to pass that I, Omni, being commanded by my father Jarom, that I should write somewhat upon these plates to preserve our genealogy. The guy before him waited 200 years, but for me, can't miss a day. Wherefore, in my days, I would that ye should know that I fought much with the sword to preserve my people, the Nephites. Does it sound like I'm bragging that I go to the gym? Well, you would too if you had gotten these gains from falling into the hands of their enemies, the Lamanites. But behold, I of myself am a wicked man. That's what wicked men say. When you're wicked, you look into the camera and you say, I am a wicked man.
Now I have a thing to say concerning these people.
Yeah. And I have not kept the statutes and the commandments of the Lord as I ought to have done. And it came to pass that 276 years had passed away, and not from any particular time, but that number of years for sure, toward something. And we had many seasons of peace, and we had many seasons of serious war and bloodshed. Yeah, and in fine, 282 years had passed, all in one verse away. And I kept these plates according to the commandments of my fathers, and I conferred them upon my son Amarin.
You're done messed up, Maron.
Maron.
Okay. So what I'm getting is that my son is a moron.
Yeah.
Literally what it is.
Yeah. Maybe before you call your son a moron, acknowledge the fact that you took 6 years to write 3 verses, asshole. And I make an end. And now I, a moron,
So,
write
hang on.
things whatsoever I write, which are few in the book of my father. Behold, it came to pass that 320 years had passed away, and the war wicked part of the Nephites were destroyed.
Hold
Boy.
on. So this is the book of Omni. Omni writes 3 verses and like, I'm tired. Here, a moron, you take over for me.
Take it,
And I
bitch.
love it. He's a wicked man, and this whole book's named after him. I'm a wicked man. This is awesome.
I also like, 200 years went and everything was pretty good. And then we had like 76 to 82 years of things are getting conflict, but then we destroyed the more wicked part of the Nephites. We're not going to describe what destroyed means, but they're gone now and we're eating better. For the Lord would not suffer after he led them out of the land of Jerusalem and kept and preserved them from falling into the hands of their enemies. Yea, he would not suffer that the word should not be verified, which he spake unto our fathers, saying that inasmuch as ye will not keep my commandments, ye shall not prosper in the land.
So I'm sorry, I do have to add this only because it's relevant to the discussion here. This study book is really awesome. They just added an entire phrase into this verse later. So if we're reading it from the original handwritten copy, it says, and kept and preserved them from falling into the hands of their enemies. Yeah, he would not suffer that the words which he spake unto our fathers, saying inasmuch, so on and so forth. They added the line, he would not suffer that the words should not be verified, which he spake unto our fathers. So they just added a phrase in at a later time, apparently for clarification's sake, that apparently God, when he was showing the shiny light to Joseph Smith and the seer stone in the hat, God just forgot to put in there. And later an editor was like, hey, I think we need clarification. Why don't we change the words that came out of God's fucking mouth? I love it.
Who are
Well,
you all
you
going to
gotta-
believe? Bryce
You gotta be.
or Joseph Smith? Okay. And Joseph was older than Bryce, so think about that. Think about that way, don't ya?
Well, let's not forget that God is really old, and he tends to be forgetful, and he's always been that way, even when he was supposedly younger, because he created Adam and he created all the animals, but somehow absentmindedly he created a helpmeet, a mate for every one of those other species, but forgot the one for man. Had Adam trying out sheep and goats and all kind of other things to find a suitable mate, and God's, I forgot. Sorry. Let me.
I just did a thing where I said, "Are you going to believe Bryce when Joseph Smith was older?" I can't do that for Aaron. Aaron was born before Joseph Smith.
Mojo offers a comment, says Joseph Smith kind of lost his words by a wife of his friend, and he brought similar verses to it, right? So
Correct.
his words were replaced, right?
Correct. That is what we are reading through right now, is the replaced words. He wrote the book of Lehi. That's what we call it today, even though we don't know what it was actually called at the time, but it was essentially supposed to be the book of Lehi. And that was the 116 pages. And then Martin Harris took that and lost it. And now First Nephi, Second Nephi, and all of these minor prophets we're reading right now are the replacement for that first original book. That is correct.
Now, I remember saying that this has happened to a lot of other religions, where you have God's God-breathed text being inspired through the prophet or whatever, and then some happens, decades later, and the prophet's words change a bit, or there's other things added or deleted or what have you. And here you're demonstrating that it doesn't take centuries to do that.
No,
But
it
it
took
can happen
literally like 18 months, pretty much, to do that. Yep.
Interesting how quickly Scripture can corrupt.
Yeah.
Hey,
By the same dude who was like making the scriptures was like, oh, my scriptures got corrupted. Fuck. I guess I'll rewrite it.
what do you think it would have been called if it wasn't called the Book of Lehi? Like, what are some other options?
So, the book of I hope I don't lose this shit.
Yeah, the book of like, oh my God, I'm in too deep, and they're still following me. I thought they would have gone home by now. Or the book of I tried to abandon my family, it didn't work. Or the book of Flesh Gordon would be good. Any of those would be great.
I get the impression that Jimmy's going to go out and rent Flesh Gordon now.
Wait, Mr. Nee, how about what if it was Mr. Lehigh Goes to Washington?
The Raven 200 offers $4.99. It says, I saw Behemoth live in 2017.
You saw Behemoth live and you didn't leave on a stretcher? How are you alive today?
Wow.
And there were some Jehovah's Witnesses preaching outside. Nurgle made sure to dedicate Of Fire and the Void to them.
Oh, I love Behemoth so much. Yummy. Yummy.
Then Zar Narankar says, maybe Joe was trying to make it like people who were less able to write had the plates, or maybe he's trying to say that not everything was interesting, or just saw how many years he had left.
The final of those options.
Then we have a comment from A Pebble in the Pond. Says offers $5 and says, this writing is worse than a third grader's short story for a writing class. Indeed. Thanks for all you all do. Then Mojo adds another comment. It says, does Mormonism have BS ideas like disbelievers? I'm happy I am out of those darn BS idea.
So Mormonism has a very specific label they use, and it's called apostate. And that's for people who are disbelievers, people who leave the faith, especially for arguments against the faith. They started reading the books and so on and so forth, and they become apostates. And those are people who are destined for outer darkness, people who are so evil, people who are anti-Mormons, people who you should never pay any attention to. So there's like an extra layer of cult insulation that the Mormon church builds into it to keep you away from those people who are apostates, or in what is it, Jehovah's Witnesses uses the term suppressive person. There are like these terms that are specific to all of the individual cults.
Then Deconverted Man says, man, these Star Wars Mormon movies keep getting stronger as time goes on. Who greenlights these things?
Yeah.
Then the Raven 200 offers $4.99 and says, the book of holy hell, they're still buying this?
Perfect.
Okay, so we are still in the book of Omni. What verse are we on?
6, I think 5 or 6.
Yeah, where
we were into Amaron's verses.
Yeah.
Who is reading?
Oh, right, I'm reading. Okay, sorry. So are we on 6 or 7? I think
6. Great,
okay.
6.
For the Lord would not suffer if he had led them out of the land of Jerusalem and kept and preserved them from falling into the hands of their enemies. Yea, he would not suffer that the word should not be verified, which he spake unto our fathers, saying, inasmuch as ye will not keep my commandments, ye shall not prosper in the land. Wherefore the Lord did visit them in great judgment. Nevertheless, he did spare the righteous, that they should not perish, but to deliver them out of the hands of their enemies. And it came to pass that I did deliver the plates unto my brother. I assume it's pronounced Hemesh, and he's trying to go with a Jewish name, but I don't know. I'm just gonna
wait. So Amaron's brother is negligee.
I don't know what that means.
A shemis.
That's what that. Well, I don't know. It's fucking.
It's spelled differently, but it sounds similarly.
Oh, I'm gonna go with Chemish. Now I Chemish, right?
That's what I would suggest.
Yeah, right. That few things I write in the same book with my brother. For behold, I saw the last which he wrote, that he wrote it with his own hand, and he wrote it in the day that he delivered them unto me. And after this manner we keep the records, for it is according to the commandments of our fathers, and I make an end. Behold, I, Abinadom, and the son of Chemish.
I've been a dom, but I didn't like it.
I've been a dom. Wait till you meet his
Abinadom.
brother,
I love
been a
it.
sub. Behold, I, Abinadom, am the son of Chemish. Behold, it came to pass that I saw much war and contentions between the people, the Nephites, my people, the Nephites, and the Lamanites. And I, with my own sword, have taken the lives of many Lamanites in defense of my brethren. All of them were drunk. And behold, that's how we roll. And behold, the record of this people is engraven upon plates, which is had by the kings according to the generations. And I know of no revelation save that which has been written, neither the prophecy. Wherefore, that which is sufficient is written, and I make an end.
Okay, look. Okay, this is such shit filler. This is all this is. This is just filler trying to pass time so we can get into Messiah 1. That is why Messiah priority theory has traction in the Mormon history community, that they started with Messiah 1, because this sucks. There is nothing here. There is no relevant information. This is literally just a chronicling of, I'm a dude, I'm a prophet,
I'm a dude. Looks like a dude. Dressed up as another dude.
I'm gonna push back just a little bit on that.
Please
because
do.
in order for it to be truly filler, this would be the book of Chemish and the book of Abinadom. Each one would be its own
Don't forget,
own book, you know.
maybe it was, and Mormon was doing some abridging, or finally for the first time ever, they were like, guys, gold plates are hard to come by. Maybe let's not waste our time. Look how much there's scribbles in the margins on this one. Let's be a little more concise.
And what's even more fascinating is we have made transitions in this book that from the text we can clearly see it's a different author. But all of this says specifically this is a different author, and it sounds exactly the same.
Yeah.
It is exactly the same words, the same writing style, the same everything. And it explicitly says, no, I'm Jarom now. Oh, no, I'm Abinadom. It's just so absurd.
So you get your opportunity. You have your entire generation. You are going to be recorded in the book of all time. And all you can do is write a single paragraph, a single verse that says
I'm a wicked
not
man.
much happened. And not much happened, and none of it had anything to do with me.
I appreciate their conciseness. May I continue? I've been waiting to say this next guy's name.
Please.
Behold, I am Amaleki that ass, the son of Abinadom. Behold, I will speak unto you somewhat concerning Mosiah, who was made king over the land of Zarahemla. For behold, he being warned of the Lord that he should flee out of the land of Nephi, and as many as would hearken unto the voice of the Lord should also depart out of the land with him into the wilderness.
Hang on. Is this the first appearance we have of Zarahemla in the book?
Yes, it is. This is the first reference to it.
This shit is I mean this is the Shire, basically. Like this is such an not the Shire. I mean I don't even know.
This is
Rivendell.
the New York.
This is Rivendell.
This is the New York of the Book of Mormon. Zarahemla is the big New York of the Book of Mormon.
And this, because this is all filler that they're using to explain the content later, they're like, oh shit, remember that city Zarahemla that's so much of the rest of the book factors around? We got to mention it. We got to put it in this transitory phase book here. We got to talk about it.
Well, they say Zarahemla was built in a day.
I also have to mention there are some Mormon like wackadoos who believe in the Heartland model, who are currently active in the search for Zarahemla, who believe that it exists somewhere in the state of Illinois. And they are actively searching for this. And there's a wonderful blog post from 2015 of one of these guys named Rod Meldrum, who is looking for the city of Zarahemla and looking for a Nephite barge that they came across the plains. They have some sort of crazy idea that they like Mayflowered the shit with the Nephite barges and brought some of them across the plains and used them to build part of the city of Zarahemla. So they are out in this field digging with a backhoe, trying to dig down and find the city of Zarahemla. And this guy, Rod Meldrum, is walking around with literal divining rods, trying to find the ancient Nephite city of Zarahemla. I shit you not, this is happening right now.
Who said treasure digging was dead?
You want to laugh at this, at the same time, I feel so sorry for such people. What do you do to help them?
Hey, I don't feel that bad because a lot of what you're describing are future anti-Mormons. Like people who dedicate, like, I'm going to dedicate a serious portion of my life to proving the church is true. That's pretty much the beginning of most of our stories.
No, like you say that, but then these fucks hold a conference every year in Salt Lake City. And okay, so Sunstone Symposium is known as like the premier Mormon conference. That's where Gazelam and I met, right? Like Sunstone is the place to go if you want to do Mormon studies and present on these. It's the symposium. And every year, these wackadoo fucks who put on their crazy white supremacist conference get 4 times the attendance of Sunstone. And these are the dudes walking around in some random ass field in Illinois with divining rods trying to find Zarahemla. So
That's
like, sure, you say that, Jimmy, but like these fucks have a long and storied past and a very like vociferous following with, yes, and Gazelam, you pointed out, with a lot of money behind them, a lot of really good Mormon money.
Yeah.
So the Raven 200 offers $4.99 and says, "What would the Book of Aaron Ra say?" Well, I can guarantee this: that if I had fought in many wars, I wouldn't just say that we had seasons of peace and we had seasons of war. I go through any war and I come out alive, and I've killed anybody in that war where I've actually done something, I'm going to brag about it, and it's going to be on those golden plates. And I will tell of all the exploits, the exact moves that I made. I will tell the whole graphic detail thing. You're going to have to dig up some more gold because my plate needs to be bigger, or I need a few more plates.
You're sitting there writing like, I'm drinking out of his skull right now.
And yeah, it came to pass. Aaron said, "Dodge this."
And so
this is my time to be remembered in the book of all time. I'm not just going to write, like what's his face, Omni, whatever. I'm not going to write like a paragraph and that be it.
This was a dark week. For the first time, I was compelled to drink Bud Light. There had never been a good reason to drink Bud Light before.
I wanted really quick to remind everybody too that Aaron's revelations on Genesis are available on his YouTube site right here. So if you want to see any of his revelations, they're available.
Gfish17 says, second attempt. Do you guys think South Park got Joseph Smith right?
More right than we grew up with.
Oh yeah. I have seen it so many times. I watch it like almost like a scripture study every so often. I'm like, I need that in my life again. It's a comfort show for me. I only have, I think, like 2 or maybe 3 factual quibbles with the entire thing, and they are very minor. No, they got it extremely right.
Yeah, like the kid swearing at the end. He wouldn't have done that.
Mwah, it's perfect. It's so perfect. They nailed everything.
Yeah.
And then
they had the stone in the hat before the church membership knew it was a stone in a hat.
And if they hadn't have done it, the church probably would still not have published pictures of the hat.
Yeah, that's probably true.
So Zara Narankar says, I guess, Bryce, the analogy would be the D&D storyteller remembering all the things in the created lore and just want to throw references to things established to make it feel more alive.
Yeah, this is... No, this is not the lore dump chapters. These chapters / books, because the entire books are chapters. These are the resting phase where you're like, and then 3 months pass. And what did your players do during this time? What new skill did they learn? That's what we're getting.
And then Mojo posts a comment, says, so you would make a great collection of ahadiths for you as well? Ahadiths of Aaron Ra? LOL. Yeah, probably. Why not? As long as I can publish it and know that everybody's just going to just give praise to me for having writing a thing, I'm sure I'm going to do that. I think everybody would. All right.
Can I just quickly jump in? Can I just quickly jump in? If people ask a question, don't delete it, because then I can't show it on screen.
Why do people put questions and then delete them?
I
I
have
assume
no
they
I
don't
have
like
no
it
idea,
for
but
us, do
it's kind of frustrating. So
They
let's
probably
not do that.
regretted it. They regretted
And
it.
Okay.
one more thing before we continue. According to the Book of Mormon geography.com, the land of Zarahemla itself is in like the upper Mexico area, just below the border of the southwestern United States.
Right. So Book of Mormon Central are the reasonable apologists. You're not looking at Heartlanders. If you look up Zarahemla Heartlanders, you'll find them talking about where they think Zarahemla is.
Yeah,
Because
I just came across this map a while ago, and I figured now is a good time to reference it because, for one thing, it holds a large portion of like the land, the promised land, and a lot of it is just like stenciled on to include places like Cuba, Puerto Rico, and all of that in the Gulf of Mexico area, and have this little tiny gulf that goes between in the apparently sunken part of the promised land and Florida.
So basically,
Yeah,
the people got together, these apologists, and were like, hey guys, I know they're saying that it's down in Mexico. Is anybody else open to the idea that maybe Zarahemla is near white people right by my summer home?
Yeah.
think
Well,
that's-
I think it was that originally. Then Farms and those guys put it down into Central America, and now
Trying to
these
make it work.
Heartlanders are trying to restore like because Joseph Smith, it was in his backyard, you know.
Right.
It was all in his backyard. So
Well, depending, because like he made different statements. At one point, Frederick G. Williams even recorded a School of the Prophets meeting, not the meeting minutes of it, but he referenced when Joseph was speaking about the path of Lehi on the boats. He talked about navigating all the way across the Pacific and landing somewhere in Central America. So even Joseph Smith himself wasn't rock solid on the location of this. But when it initially began, yeah, absolutely, it was all in Joe's backyard.
I mean, he thought Camorra was an Indian mound, and it's not.
Yeah,
It's a
like-
natural.
Like
Amazing.
in New York, like I've walked on that hill. That like it's a unique hill. It looks different than the hills that are nearby. I get why he would think that it's special, but like he did believe that when he was writing the Book of Mormon, that it was set there in New England, right? That it was set somewhere in that whole area. And the place names of the locations that we get in here oddly correlate with many of the locations around Joseph Smith when he was growing up. Weird.
And it came to pass, I got nothing else, that he did according as the Lord had commanded him. And they departed out of the land into the wilderness, as many as would hearken unto the voice of the Lord. And they were led by many preachings and prophesyings, and they were admonished continually by the word of God. And they were led by the power of his arm, his oddly strong right arm, but his left arm was visibly weaker. We never figured out why. Through the wilderness until they came down into the land, which is called the land of Zarahemla. And they discovered a people who were called the people of Zarahemla. I'm going to make that catch on. Now there was a great rejoicing among the people of Zarahemla, and also Zarahemla did rejoice exceedingly, because the Lord had sent the people of Messiah with the plates of brass, which contain the record of the Jews. Behold, and by the way, this time when they said that, they don't mean anything bad by the word Jews. It's just the word Jews this time. Anyway, behold, it came to pass that Messiah discovered that the people of Zarahemla had come down from Jerusalem at the time that Zedekiah, king of Judah, was carried away captive into Babylon.
How do they know? How does the book know?
That's right.
They have been separated from Judah, from Jerusalem, from Israel for
No.
400 years. How the
No.
fuck do they know?
Not correct. One of
Cable news?
One of the machineries they built was a cell phone tower. God, you don't even
Did it have
research.
5G?
You're making it so easy for the apologists,
I
Bryce.
think it's because they still spoke Adamic.
Yeah.
The Zarahemlans.
Mhm.
They just stretched a cable all the way back to Israel.
Mhm.
Had a tin
As they were
can on
sailing,
the
they
end of
just
each.
kept unraveling this one long ass cable. The Raven 200 says, my friends are almost $4.99. Thank you. Says, my friends are almost here for D&D. So I'm a dip out now. Here's some free money. Adieu. And go get hit with a fireball, Jutsu Jimmy.
Yeah, Raven's been really upping the game on this go fuck yourself Jimmy thing. Sometimes they get very graphic and unpleasant.
Deconverted Man says, where's Komora? I'll do you one better. Who's Komora? I'll do you one better. Why's Komora?
I'll do you one better. Whatsoever, Komora.
Okay, wait. I've got one. Komora, I barely know her. Anyway.
Zarnankar says, Bryce, when you say it's stuff that Joe would know, I know a few authors who say, write what you know, which is why Stephen King writes so much stuff in Maine and other numerous examples.
Well, and that is, I mean, as part of Dan Vogel's thesis in Making a Prophet, right? Like the Book of Mormon is autobiographical, especially what we've read so far. First and Second Nephi, almost like line for line, chronicled Joseph Smith's life, his arguments with his brothers, him trying to like get a wife from the daughters of Ishmael, as you know, Emma's dad was Isaac, right? Like there are so many autobiographical tendencies in the First and Second Nephi, and that's what we're reading through right now. Yes, you write what you know. Yes, point taken.
And ever since somebody mentioned Heartlander, I've been thinking about that show, The Boys. But well, that's Homelander, isn't it?
I like The Boys though.
Hey, I was late. We did an opening prayer, right? Somebody do an opening prayer?
Yeah.
Is this
I already have my sacrament.
Who's presiding?
Aaron. Come on.
Okay.
Presiding? Okay, good.
What verse are we on?
16.
16. And they journeyed in the wilderness and were brought by the hand of the Lord across the great waters into the land where Mosiah discovered them, and they had dwelt there from that time forth. And at the time that Mosiah discovered them, they had become exceedingly numerous, because there's a lot of exceeding here. Nevertheless, they had many wars and serious contentions, and had fallen by the sword from time to time, and their language had become corrupted.
Was
and
the
they
second
brought...
had necessary? Sorry. Nevertheless, they had many wars and serious contentions. It seems to me reads exactly the same as they had many wars and serious contentions.
Indeed.
From time to time.
Would someone like to defend the second had before you go?
So I can try, but it won't. It's pointless. Who cares?
And they had
Book
brought
of
no
Mormon
records
grammar.
with them.
Fuck off.
And they had brought no records with them, and they denied the being of their creator and Mosiah, nor the people of Mosiah could understand them.
Now this is all foreshadowing. Mosiah's coming up. He's a main figure later in this book. This is all foreshadowing shit.
But it came to pass that Mosiah caused that they should be taught in his language. And it came to pass, after they were taught in the language of Mosiah, Zarahemla gave a genealogy of his fathers according to his memory, and they are written, but not on these plates.
Not these ones.
And then the next 10 verses are a scavenger hunt.
We scribbled them on papyrus that didn't last very long. And it came to pass that the people of Zarahemla and of Mosiah did unite together, and Mosiah was appointed to be their king. And it came to pass, in the days of Mosiah, there was a large stone brought unto him with engravings on it, and he did interpret the engravings by the gift and power of God.
Okay.
And they gave an account of...
I'm sorry.
Yep.
In engraven stone here, this is hearkening straight to the Rosetta Stone. Engravings on a stone that were translated, according to Joseph, by the gift and power of God. Because the Rosetta Stone was discovered in 1799. It was transported to England in 1805, I think it was. and thus began the work of deciphering ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. Joseph Smith was caught up in the world of Egyptomania because it was just a cultural meme at the time. Everybody was super fascinated with ancient Egypt, and him writing in here, engraven on a stone, is directly referencing the Rosetta Stone.
Okay. And they gave an account of one Coriantumr and the slain of his people. And the slain of his people.
Wow.
And
we should read the name Coriantumr with a boom, boom, boom in the background.
and Coriantumr was discovered by the people of Zarahemla, and he dwelt with them for the space of 9 moons.
9. Apropos of nothing. Now we're tracking time via moons.
Those are no moons.
That proves Lamanites are Native Americans.
Yes.
It also spake a few words concerning his fathers, and his first parents came out from the tower at the time of the Lord, confounded by the language of their people. His first parents? What about his second and third parents?
What about 11 MZs?
And the severity of the Lord
Mosiah
fell
got
upon
2
them.
dads. Fuck yeah. Woo! Days of the Book of Mormon confirmed. Woo!
And the severity of the Lord fell upon them according to his judgments, which are just, and their bones lay scattered in the land northward. Behold, I, Amaleki, was born in the days of Mosiah, and I have lived to see his death, and Benjamin his son reigneth in his stead. And behold, I have seen in the days of King Benjamin a serious war and much bloodshed between the Nephites and the Lamanites. But behold, the Nephites did obtain much advantage over them. Yeah, insomuch that King Benjamin did drive them out of the land of Zarahemla. And it came to pass that I began to be old, and having no seed, and knowing King Benjamin to be a just man before the Lord, wherefore I shall deliver up these plates unto him, exhorting all men to come unto God and the Holy One of Israel, and believe in prophesying and in revelations and the ministering of angels and the gift of speaking in tongues and the gift of interpreting languages and all things which are good. For there is nothing which is good save it comes from the Lord, and that which is evil comes from the devil.
Wait, so does having no seed mean he has no kids, or he can't come no more because he's old?
I think
he ran out of seed.
We would have to ask his longtime servant, ward, and friend, Stephen.
Yeah, no shit. Fucking having no children, being an old, yeah, that was acceptable socially back then. This is hitting the old sniff test.
Yeah, he doesn't have any kids because towards the end it says he has a brother. But I'm not spoiling. Just he didn't have any kids,
and because King Benjamin didn't have a uterus, if you know what I'm saying.
Now, was this a brother or a brother? Like, is this a colloquial brother?
I'm brother with another mother.
Yeah.
Wait, what do you mean? What's the colloquial brother back then?
I mean, bosom brothers, right?
Oh, I thought you were just asking if it was a black guy.
No. I'm asking, like,
I don't know.
Maybe I'm just like overstimulated, but I read extra into the phraseology of "Am I not my brother's keeper?"
Oh.
That's just caring. That's just care and compassion in a relationship, and I appreciate that.
I got friends, biker friends that use the brother thing. Yeah.
A bromance.
And now my beloved brethren, I would that ye should come unto Christ, who is the Holy One of Israel, and partake of his salvation and the power of his redemption. Yeah, come unto him, and offer your whole souls as an offering unto him, and continue in fasting and praying, and endure to the end. And as the Lord liveth, ye will be saved.
He hasn't even
And
died
now,
yet.
I would speak somewhat concerning a certain number who went up into the wilderness to return to the land of Nephi, for there was a large number who were desirous to possess the land of their inheritance. Wherefore, they went up into the wilderness, and their leader being strong and a mighty man and a stiff-necked man, wherefore he caused a contention among them, and they were all slain, save 50 in the wilderness. And they returned again to the land of Zarahemla.
I just like that there's 50 dudes standing around going, whoa, you guys are all overreacting. What the fuck? Guys, come on. This is fine. Are
There's
you
at least
seeing
50 of us left.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
And it came to pass that they also took others to a considerable number, and took their journey again into the wilderness. And I, Amalekite, had a brother who also went with them, and I have not since known concerning them. And I am about to lie down in my grave, and these plates are full, and I make an end of my speaking.
These plates are full. I can't fit another word on these plates. Do you hear me? I am struggling to finish this sentence. I'm dead.
The only way it could have been better is if verse 31 was,
end, like...
if verse 31 just read dictated but not read. That would have been amazing.
Okay.
Wow.
Would we continue
I would
to the
love to
18
break
verses
into
of
Messiah.
the Words of Mormon?
Let's please get to Messiah. Please.
So you want me to?
And
Okay.
I won't be here next week. So do you want me to raw dog Words of Mormon for everybody?
Jimmy, I won't be here next week.
Ah, cool.
We won't be
running
here
this?
next week.
Oh, all right.
Wait.
Oh.
I take that back. You're right. You're right. I fuck it up. I will be here Sunday, but I won't be here the week after that, or the week after that.
So 3 weeks without me. My God, what will you all do?
Masturbate in your memory.
That's what I was thinking. I'll send nudes. $7 for feet pics. Let's go. Ready.
These better be primo feet.
You know what I love about this show?
Do you know how many good
Irreverent.
feet are on the internet for free?
I got hobbit feet. I got hobbit feet, and I got a toe that's curling inward because evolution doesn't need it anymore. Let me see. What else can I offer you? Sometimes I develop a strange lump on my left foot that gets hard like a bone, but if you push it, it eventually crumbles, and then my foot hurts for a week. Don't know what that is.
That's fascinating. Shall we read the next chapter?
I mean, it's the dude's namesake. I mean, come on.
I've also
And once
removed
we
my
read
own
this-
ingrown nails a couple of times. I'm still on
okay.
feet.
All right. Once we read this, a little known fact: we're all going to be Mormons because these are the Words of Mormon.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Shall
Before
I?
we do that, then let me read the comment from Cindy Sue.
What
It
up?
says God didn't need no stinking editors.
That's what they thought.
I want to read also this comment I see from Deviant Outcast. It says, Aaron's voice acting makes me want to make a cartoon. If only I knew how to do digital video. Thank you for
that would look cool.
I often see things on YouTube and go, I wish I had skills. Fuck me. Do you think that they showed Nephi? Didn't God show Nephi all things to come? Didn't we talk about that?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he was like then still writing and it came to pass, just going, God, I can't wait for them to invent the word then. It's going to save so much fucking time.
Well,
he knows it's
the
coming
thing is,
eventually.
in Adamic, it's just one figure. It's
Is
just
that
like
it?
this.
That's right.
In Reformed Egyptian?
In Reformed Egypt.
Yeah.
Now, Joseph only called it Reformed Egyptian because he didn't know what Adamic looked like. He wasn't allowed to see the true Adamic.
Oh.
Well, the difference is it's the brother of Jared. All of that's Adamic, and then all the stuff Nephi brought over was Reformed Egyptian.
Oh. Joseph sounds
Gazelam
like
Ali. Assuming I said that right. Say it again for me.
Ali, like the faster than a butterfly.
Gazelam, right? Gazelam?
Yeah, Gazelam, like a gazelle.
Okay. Okay.
Wait. Before you go on, he just said Gazelam, and you said yes, Gazelam like a gazelle, which is pronounced differently. You just
Gazelam
told
like
him
a gazelle.
that would be Gazelum, not Gazelum.
Gazelam. I was able to say gaze.
That was very confusing.
Gazelum.
I've just been calling you Ali for this very purpose.
Yes, I've seen a Gazelam being hunted by a Chiala.
Yeah. Look at the gazelles. Oh, man.
Okay, so
it's a good trigger, I think. Should I read?
yes.
And now I, Mormon, being about to deliver up the record which I have been making into the hands of my son Moroni. We got all the big heads now. First time we've hearing from this dude, and it's his book. Behold, I have witnessed almost all the destruction of my people, the Nephites. And it is many hundreds of years after the coming of Christ that I deliver these records into the hands of my son. And it supposeth me that he will witness the entire destruction of my people, but may God grant that he may survive them, and he may write without concerning them, and somewhat concerning Christ, that perhaps someday it may profit them.
Okay, I'm going to jump in here. Okay, so we somehow had an accounting of what was going on in Israel after they were no longer in Israel. And now they know about the past tense coming of Christ. How'd they know that?
Okay, so this is something that even Mormons will agree with, that this is written so that, okay, so this is the Book of Mormon. The custodian for the plates was Moroni. Angel Moroni led Joseph Smith to the burial location in the Hill Cumorah in New York. So Mormon is Moroni's dad. Mormon did the abridging that we are reading, the Book of Mormon, and then handed it off to his son as he was dying. And Moroni remained the custodian of the plates, added a couple of words, and then buried them in New York, where Joseph Smith.
Okay, wait. The angel Moroni.
Correct.
Is the son of this guy Mormon.
Correct.
Yeah.
Mormon is the guy who abridged all of the plates to make the Book of Mormon. So Mormon is taking, this is what he is writing. This is after Jesus came to America. This is in like 400 AD, right? Or 400 CE, that he is going back and he's like, oh, by the way, I'm a dude and I'm going to hand these plates off to my son Moroni. And then he inserts that back into the beginning of this book before we get into Mosiah.
So he's just peeking in to say, hey, real fast, you know.
Yep.
Just to clarify one more time. So Moroni is an angel, meaning that Mormon is an angel?
Oh, we've never had an angel Mormon, actually, that I'm aware of. But also, the words of Mormon should not be confused with the Book of Mormon that we're reading here, nor should it be confused with the Book of Mormon in the Book of Mormon. That is also not the words of Mormon.
To answer your
Y'all
question,
follow?
Aaron, what I think you were asking, technically everyone's an angel after they die. So the angel Moroni is just Mormon's son after he dies. So Mormon does exist out there somewhere as an angel in Mormonism, but
okay, so that's why in the story about what was it, the cartoon rabbit, whenever one of the weasels die, they always come up with a harp and they've got wings.
Yeah, Bugs Bunny.
That's right.
Roger Rabbit.
Oh, Roger Rabbit.
Okay, continue reading, please. It's riveting,
Many
I assure you.
We're on 2, right? Or 2 or 3?
3.
And now I speak somewhat concerned. Oh, and it is many hundreds of years after the coming of Christ that I deliver these records into the hands of my son. Oh, we are at 3. And now I speak somewhat concerning that which I have written, for after I have made an abridgment from the plates of Nephi down to the reign of the king of Benjamin, of whom Amaleki spake, I searched among the records which have been delivered into my hands, and I have found these plates, and contained this small account of the prophets from Jacob, now to the reign of King Benjamin, and also many of the words of Nephi. And the things which are upon these plates, what? And the things which are upon, I said and.
Sorry, I was going to say something, but go ahead, continue.
I thought you were correcting me that I'm not saying and. Talking about and.
No.
And
the things which and the things which are upon these plates pleasing me because of the prophecies of the coming of Christ and my fathers. So bad. And my fathers knowing that many of them have been fulfilled. Yea, and I also know that as many things as have been prophesied concerning us down to the day have been fulfilled, and as many as go beyond this day must surely come to pass.
Come to pass, actually used grammatically appropriate. Wow.
A miracle. Wherefore I chose these things to finish my record upon them, which reminder of my record I shall take from the plates of Nephi, and I cannot write the 100th part of the things of my people. What's that even saying?
He doesn't write good.
But behold, I shall take the plates which contain these prophesyings and revelations, and put them with the remainder of my record, for they are choice unto me, and I know they will be choice unto my brethren. And I do this for a wise purpose, for thus is whispereth me, according to the workings of the Spirit of the Lord, which is in me. And now I do not know all things, but the Lord knoweth all things, which are to come. Wherefore he worketh in me to according to his will. And my prayer to God is concerning my brethren, that they may once again come to the knowledge of God, yea, the redemption of Christ, that they may once again be a white and delightsome people.
It doesn't actually say white and delightsome there. It just you just took that from a previous verse and added it, but it's appropriate because it means the same thing.
It means the same thing. And now I, Mormon, proceedeth to finish out my record, which I take from the plates of Nephi, and I make it according to the knowledge of the understanding which God has given me. Okay, someone else wanting to go. I'm getting a little raspy.
All right. What verse did you leave on? Because I was trying to find
I'm on 10.
You're on 10. Wherefore it came to pass that after Amaleki had delivered up these plates into the hands of King Benjamin, he took them and put them with the other plates which contained the records which had been handed down by the kings from generation to generation until the days of King Benjamin. And they were handed down from King Benjamin from generation to generation until they have fallen into my hands. And I, Mormon, pray to God that they may be preserved from this time henceforth. From this time henceforth. Because I like redundancy. And I know that
really not a whole lot of extra space on these plates. They're writing for efficiency here, okay? Cool it.
And I know that they will be preserved, for there are great things written upon them, out of which my people and their brethren shall be judged at the great and last day, according to the word of God which is written. And
Still
now,
waiting.
concerning this King Benjamin, he had somewhat of contentions among his own people. And it came to pass also that the enemies of the Lamanites came down out of the land of Nephi to battle against his people. But behold, King Benjamin gathered together his armies, and he did stand against them, and he did fight with the strength of his own arm, with the sword of Laban. How old is that sword now?
Ooh. Yeah, we still got the sword of Laban.
Yeah, at this
Yeah,
point,
but
cracking
it has
on
been remade.
450 years. Reforged in the fires of Mordor.
And in the strength of the Lord did they contend against their enemies.
I'm
until they
sorry.
had
Okay, so we're gonna get into the war verses really soon. Aaron, I cannot wait to hear what you think about the battle tactics of the Nephites and Lamanites. But it is the worst king on the planet who is out there on the front line fighting with his soldiers. That is the dumbest king, because they die really fast. And then the people no longer have a king anymore to tell them what to do. I'm sorry.
That's how Robert Baratheon fought, and we know what happened to him.
There you go.
Let's not mix up our mythologies. We've got the Lord of the Rings and what was it? Game of Thrones. Anyway. And in the strength of the Lord did they contend against their enemies until they had slain many thousands of the Lamanites. And it came to pass that they did contend against the Lamanites until they had driven them out of all of the lands of their inheritance. And it came to pass that after there had been false Christs, and their mouths had been shut, and they punished according to their crimes. And they punished according to their crimes.
I'm just amazed.
And after there had been...
We're still 400 years before Christ, and we already have false Christs. And that is not even to mention the Antichrist. So we don't even have a Christ yet, but we already have false and Antichrist.
Didn't they already say that the coming of Christ had happened past tense?
We're 385 AD.
Okay, yeah, you're
but,
right. You know, statement
but
retracted.
But it is true. It's like, it's just weird. And I love the false Christs. Korahor.
That's right.
Which will be the name of my next kid. And it came to pass that after there had been false Christs, and their mouths had been shut, and they punished according to their crimes, and after there had been false prophets and false preachers and teachers among the people, and all these have been punished according to their crimes. And after there having been much contention and many dissensions away unto the Lamanites, behold, it came to pass that King Benjamin, with the assistance of the holy prophets who were among his people, for behold, King Benjamin was a holy man, and he did reign over his people in righteousness. And there were many holy men in the land, and they did speak the word of God with power and with authority. And they did use much sharpness because the stiff-neckedness of the people. Wherefore, with the help of these, King Benjamin, by laboring with all the might of his body and the faculty of his whole soul, and also the prophets, did once more establish peace unto the land.
Wow, we got it.
Okay, I want to point this out really quickly, because when Mormons are reading this, they're like, "Yeah, King Benjamin," because this King Benjamin is huge in the very next chapter. He's a central figure. They read this and they're like, "King Benjamin, yeah, Messiah, yeah, these are our heroes, these are our protagonists." And then here it's like the false prophets, false preachers, false teachers, all of these having been punished according to their crimes. Who determines who is a false preacher or a false prophet or a false teacher? King fucking Benjamin. And that seems to be a recurring theme throughout this book. It's great. It's great. It's great.
Okay, so let me ask about the upcoming bits because we're apparently not going to have Jimmy next week. Much to pity.
Sorry.
And yeah, and I won't be here myself, so we're gonna have to completely skip the next 2 weeks after that. But I'm just curious about the next thing, the Book of Mosiah, I guess, because this one lists different chapters.
Yeah,
quite a lot of them.
Things are starting to get good.
Yeah, no, we're finally getting into the meat of this book, right? So First and Second Nephi and the Minor Prophets, this is all replacement and then filler to explain the gap. Now we're getting into the meat and potatoes of this book. That is Mosiah and Alma. These are the two big books with the most content, the most doctrine, the most interesting stuff that happens in the entire book.
You'll probably want to aim for at least 2 chapters a week minimum, maybe more. It's a lot of it's not short.
Yeah, Mosiah is huge. Alma is monstrous. It's like 70 something chapters.
Okay. Well,
Alma's
we can do 2 chapters. That first chapter is only 18 verses. The next chapter after that is 41. Okay, well, we'll get there.
That's 60. 230 verses.
Great.
Jimmy,
what up?
Have a good time and enjoy the fuck out of yourself tomorrow.
Yeah, man. Tomorrow and then the week which after Tuesday. And I just want to say, obviously thank you for having me. It'll be a little while before people see me again. And I would just end my portion by saying I had a good time.
All right. I guess we'll close.
Before we go.
Yes.
Before we go, I actually have something to plug. Me and 4 players in the Milwaukee Atheist Discord server are actually going to be starting a D&D game here in a couple weeks. And we're going to live stream it.
Fascinating.
We have Minute Rice, a friend of mine, Rick Shaw, Hallie, who joined in the last few weeks, and one of the 2, a friend of Lawrence's, and they're all going to be playing as characters in a homebrew campaign of my own.
Okay. Well, glad you could plug that. Best of luck to you there. I do have some more comments I got to read real quick. So Walker Bow said, Mosiah arrives in Zarahemla, 100 miles and never talked. Somehow 600 BCE Hebrew and the Jaredites 2400 BCE Aramaic language are so close to each other. Somehow get everyone's story. Yeah, I don't get that either.
You know what? I want Walker to be on to add a little meat to the bones of that, because there's a whole lot he's baking into that post. I want to hear further explanation.
Yeah, hopefully when we don't. Yeah.
I just find it very funny that the Jaredites come across, or the Nephites come across the ruins of the Jaredites, which have been there for almost 2,000 years. And they just happen across them. It's like, wow, there's so much civilization that obviously 2,000 years later, you would see signs of that civilization. And then when you bring that up about, well, so how come we don't see Nephite civilization? Oh, why would you expect to see? Everything broke down. The steel, it disintegrated. It became soil. Fucking stupid. Anyway.
Excellent point. Excellent point.
The continents are huge, but the Nephites and the Jaredites go to the same school. Fucking Christ.
Zar Narankar says, did he say his son Moroni? Isn't that an angel that visits Joe in the future? Well, that was the source of my confusion.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah.
Same spirit, same soul person.
Yes. It's confusing because sometimes his name is Nephi as well.
Right.
That's
and in the temple, he found out his name is like Tim. It'd be something stupid like that.
His new name is Tim.
Yeah, it's just Tim.
And then Winter's Scoop for $7, thank you, says, Jimmy, send them to the Discord server. Pay up.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means either. I don't do Discord. Zar Narankar says, okay, now I have another question. If everyone becomes an angel, do some angels go to hell to become the Hell's Angels? Or do they all go to heaven and
They already
become
went to hell.
not, or do they all go to heaven and become not angels to go to hell?
There's already 1/3 of the angels are in hell.
That's right.
From
Those are the demons and the familiar spirits.
Yeah.
There's
from what I
crossover.
understand,
Satan embodies evil and is clearly the worst thing that's ever happened. But as far as speech and debate goes, he's pretty good against God and was able to convince 1/3 of the angels to follow him instead of God.
And Walker
I'm
Bowe
working on
says,
it. I'm
Walker
working on
Bowe
a
says-
Mormon grimoire, so I'm just saying I'm working on a Mormon grimoire, and so if you want to follow my stuff, I have a bunch of stuff on Mormon demonology if you're looking into that.
Tight.
Yeah, give me a link. Give me share with me a link that I can put in the description
Okay.
when we're done here.
Hey, somebody make
Cool, I will.
somebody make the Photoshop Mr. Lehi goes to Washington on the Book of Mormon. I would do it, but I'm not gonna.
And Walker Bowe says, "Words of Mormon equals narrator here from the future, here to spoil the next few books."
That's correct. That's what we just now read. That's the words of Mormon.
Okay, then Trevor Wright says, "Wouldn't it be right to say that Jesus was the Antichrist because nothing he stated about prophecy was true?"
It's true.
fair point.
Truth.
And Morgan, our final chat says, Morgan offers $5 and says, "Are there mosasaurs in the Book of Mosiah?" All right. Whoop, and then we got
Yeah.
another comment from Witter Scoop says, "Jimmy said $7 for feet pics."
Oh no, OnlyFans, not Discord. Jesus.
Yeah, I wonder if you get extra for Hobbit feet.
I better. You know, I could do a foot. I could eventually do a foot reveal where I slowly shave away a line at a time of the hair. God, that'd come back in so itchy. I just thought, so unpleasant. A mosasaur could be a Q-mom. Is that what they were called?
A Curalom. Or
What was the
Q-mom.
other-
Yeah.
Q-mom
Q-moms and
and Curalom.
Curaloms. That's right.
Q-moms
Yeah.
and Curaloms. Yeah, there are
That's right.
fake animals in the Book of Mormon, people.
Yeah.
There are. Hang on, let me find.
Well, and if we're going to talk about fossils, we have the Ammonites coming up as well.
That's right.
Very.
That's right.
I asked my kids. I asked my kids for a special fossil. I have this affinity for trilobites, and so I wanted a fossil trilobite, but I wanted the trilobite to be hematite. I wanted a hematite trilobite.
Oh, wow.
But that's not actually possible. The way hematite forms, you can't get a fossil out of it. So instead of getting me a hematite trilobite, my kids got me a pyrite ammonite.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're beautiful. I have a hematite ammonite. They do form in hematite as well.
I like how
You have a hematite. You have a
Uh-huh.
hematite ammonite.
I do. And I have one with the fool's gold. But yeah.
Okay.
So the
We'll talk again.
Jaredites who were supposed to come 2,000 years before the Nephites had all manner of cattle and also many other kinds of animal which were useful for the food of man. And they also had horses and asses, 2400 BC. There were elephants and Curaloms and Q-moms. I like how they're naming them like unevolved Pokemon. And the third version was Charizard, all of which were useful to man, and more especially the elephants and Curaloms and Q-moms. Those were the most useful, the elephants, the Curaloms, and the Q-moms.
The majority of which they brought to America on submarines.
Right. I like how he's making
Tight
up
as a dish.
he's making up words, and all the other words, horse, all the other animals, horse, ass, elephant, and then it's like, all right, make up two more, but don't put in too much effort. Make them practically the same word. Q-moms and
Kununamons.
What'd you say? Curaloms? That's what it's. Yeah, you nailed it. Fucking.
Well, we know the ass head is correct because the first depiction of Christ is in Greek graffiti, and the first depiction of Christ is an ass head in Christ.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's seen that. But
Would anybody
I
like to
forgot
bear
about
their
that.
testimony?
yeah.
And yea, it came to pass, upon which soon time we shall embark upon the Nephite coinage system,
Stiff neckedness.
upon which I prophesy we will have many a great laughs.
Excellent.
I shall only appear stiff necked.
Okay, well, I'm gonna close it up and see everybody next week, except for Jimmy, which I guess I'm gonna not see until next month.
I mean, maybe.
Okay,
Yeah,
take care, Jimmy.
that may be correct.
So,
It's halfway through the month. That sounds worse than it is. People, you need breaks from me. Okay, I am good in doses, and I want to maintain our friendships. So doses. That's what's important.
Okay, well, in the interim, in the time that we don't see each other, have a ball, have a few.
I hope I have them.
Hey, thanks for the sausage party, everybody.
What's that? Oh, another comment. Yeah. Okay, so I got a super sticker popped into the last minute for GRNZ. So what is this? Greater New Zealand? I don't get it. $11. Thank you very much for that. And then Lunar plays this. Lunar plays this. Offers $5 Australian and says, Aaron, do you like Deicide? You and Glenn Benton have a similar style. Die Serpents of the Light. Thank you very much for that.
Deicide.
All right.
Good stuff.
Peter, before somebody else chats, take us out.
No. No, turn the credits on. Put us back on. Go back. Go back.